All right. Greetings and welcome to Refuge Depot, where we tackle disaster preparedness, emergency situations, but we try to tackle them from a Black perspective because, the truth be told, you know, when we're looking at disasters and emergency situations, a lot of times we're going to really have to depend on some community cohesion and cooperative work. But today, what we're going to be talking about is holiday madness when it comes down to shopping and making sure that you are safe and secure, not only as you go out your door, but also online. And the thing about safety and security today is that we definitely have to be aware that we're living in some very unusual times, some very difficult times, especially for the country as a whole. We're looking at a lot of political corruption. We're even looking at some corporate corruption. You had one CEO of a healthcare industry just gunned down in the street, and I think that this is without a doubt showing some cracks in the armor, if you will, of America. So tonight we're going to be talking about a shopping during this holiday season, but I think this program is going to really be one that uh, it goes beyond just shopping during the holiday seasons. The information that we're going to be giving out today is really going to be information that you can use from this point moving forward when you walk out your door or when you go online. And so I have my co hosts, they'll be joining me here in a few. But what I'm going to do right now is I want to go ahead and go into some stats for you all so that you can understand what's going on. And as I do always, I first want to come out of the book by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad entitled Fall of America. And let me see, here it goes. I'll put it on the screen. And I think that this is a book that you should definitely get. If you want to know the news tomorrow, today, then get this book by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that was written back in the 70s. But the as for instance, what I'm about to read to you, it is actually a book that is written for today. As a matter of fact, it's written for this day and this time. So let's go ahead and look at what the book, The Fall of America, says, and I'll go ahead and read it. I'll put that back on screen while I read this to you. And this comes out of chapter 22, Savagery of America. And it's The Fall of America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And it reads that the great country of America and her great riches, great institutions, and her great towns and cities spread out like a blanket over the surface of the Western Hemisphere, with her tall buildings going upward over 100 stories. The great architects and building engineers have become such experts at building to precision that it makes their past history of 2 and 4 thousand years ago look like child's play. Her land is shadowed with the wings of her many planes, her all which cover her almost like a cloud. The great and wonderful work of science on the earth and in the air, her great mighty fleets afloat on the high seas, on the surface and below the surface, her great scientific mechanical communication system. Yet, with all this might of skill in engineering or building, the country of America displays and practices more savagery than any civilized country on the earth. And all of her educational institutions are not enough to make a man so intelligent and proud of his education and of being an American citizen that he would not practice the same savagery. It goes on to say that there is no such thing as law and order. The law is disregarded as though it were thrown in the jungles to be carried out by savage beasts. Murdering, killing, robbing, raping, and drug addiction are the only law and order that is respected. It has become such a country that the civilized man of intelligence and decency is afraid to walk the streets of the vast towns and cities of America. He would be more secure in the jungles around and in the midst of wild beasts than to be walking in the streets of these great cities in America after night. Groups of robbers and murderers, killers, and dope addicts are prowling the streets after night to exact their evil intentions upon the innocent. This is a mob of savages that the intelligent and decent woman should not dare venture out among. And if we see such women walking around, they are part of the savage people. It has become dangerous even for the girls and women to be standing alone in any unprotected place, day or night. Rapists lurking around bus stations and robbers almost also and thieves are at such stations. And with such conditions existing in a so called civilized country like America, this is the worst name that could be applied to her. Police, detectives, and FBI are all here, but these daring savage acts are committed right before their eyes. And so I wanted to just open it up with that because I think that one of the things that's very important for us to understand is that things are not going to get better as far as the situation that we're looking at, because for it to turn uh, uh, to a right path, then you would have to have a different educational system and that motivates you to give, not to gain necessarily. You do definitely want to gain from what your gifts, what God gives you as far as talents and skills. However, I was listening to a show and it was talking about the Native American concept of what a citizen is, right? So a citizen as far as America is concerned, a citizen is one who is given rights. But in the Native American language, a citizen is one who has a responsibility to the community. That's a citizen. It's more of a verb than it is a noun. And so I think that this is what has to happen in order for America to turn from its ways. But we have our guests, our co-hosts. I'm sorry, our co-hosts in the backstage, and I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. And I'll start first with Brother Sanford. I'll bring you on here. Uh-oh, look like I done froze up for a second. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. I might have to. Let me see what is going on here. It's froze up. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, bro. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
There you go. I froze up for a second there. I don't know what had happened. But let's go ahead and get on with this program. I don't know how much you all heard before it froze up, but I'm just talking about, the savage condition that we have right now in America, and that it this program, even though we're talking about holiday shopping, really we're talking about individuals leaving their homes, going out, and this could be applied throughout the whole year, not just for this holiday season. Also, we're going to be talking about how people can protect themselves online, because we see a lot of, a lot of us have gone online and starting to shop. Well, that's where, some of the scams and things like that have moved themselves online. So we'll be talking about those things as well. Um, I wanted to just, if I could, just go ahead and read just a little bit more um, about the America and the global situation that America is in, right? It says, according to the Global Peace Index, the GPI, for 2023, the United States ranks 131st out of 163 countries in terms of safety and peacefulness. It says the ranking indicates that the U.S. is not considered among the safest places in the world to live in the world. And some key points about the U.S. ranking is that the U.S. Ranking has fallen every year since 2016. Factors contributing to the decline include decreased life satisfaction, rising political division, and an increasing wealth gap. And so, man, I just and there's so many statistics. I don't want to go all into them, but we'll go into them just a little bit later. But let me go ahead and let you all uh, introduce yourselves, and if you want to say anything about the topic that we're on with the holiday shopping. And Mr. Brother Sanford, we'll let you begin with leading us off. But yeah, Brother Aaron, you go ahead, and then Brother Sanford, you take it from there.
Okay, so you want me to go first then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, basically, for holidays, and if you're anytime you're going to leave your home, especially now that they have what in my area they have something called follow home robberies and stuff. There's two things that you want to do right off the bat, and that is one, proper threat assessment. Know where you're going, and then kind of predict what you might could run into to choose how alert you're going to need to be. But I mean, no matter what, you always need to be, which is the second thing, maintain situational awareness. You should always be aware of your surroundings. I don't care how much fun you're having, whatever. You need to be surveilling the area with your eyes. Notice anybody whose eyes meet yours to know that they're watching you. You are being watched. And just when you pull into a parking space, know what type of vehicle is sitting next to you. Is it a regular car? Is it a panel van that they can slide a door open and try to grab you? Uh, Try to park in a well lit area. But first two things right off the bat, proper threat assessment. That way you know how much self defense tools or things that you're going to have to take with you. And then maintaining situational awareness. And I'll stop there and give Sanford a chance to chime in.
All right. All right, Brother Sanford. Good
Hey,
seeing you, brother.
how you guys doing today?
Good, good.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Well, the first thing, as Aaron said, is situational awareness. Um, Constantly be aware of your surroundings. Constantly be aware of your state of being. Um, Constantly be aware of your physical capabilities. Constantly be aware of the weather. Constantly be aware of potential help in case of distress. Escape routes in case of distress. Just situational awareness. Period is the number one key to anything that's going to prevent or slow down or decrease the possibility of somebody just hurting you. Um, I was just looking. We was talking about the crime stats, brother Steve, and I
Right.
just brought some up. And I've been saying this man for for years. Every year the FBI and they all come out with a report that the crime is dropping, right?
Mm,
And and that's a lie. You know what
mm,
I mean? It's just tell it like it is, man. I'm looking at right now. I'm reading this. It says comparison of data from agencies that voluntarily submitted at least three or more common months of data, January through June 2023 and 2024, indicates reported violent crimes decreased by 10.3%, murder decreased by 22.7%, rape decreased by 17.7%, robbery decreased by 13.6%, and aggravated assaults decreased by 8.1%. I don't believe that. I'm not just what you just mentioned earlier, brother. Just the general nature of the climate of the whole environment and what's going on. Now, I
right.
understand they don't want you to be in a panic, but the reality is this thing is a mess when it comes
Mhm,
to your safety. And the first priority for you is making sure you're responsible for your safety. So
mhm.
I'll leave it right there, and we can kick off and find the topics and go down the list whenever
Okay.
you go.
All right then. Let me go ahead and add a little bit to that. Um, so, like you said, I did read where, the crime rate has dropped. Uh, and they say there's a number of different factors why why there's a possible drop in the crime rate. But they're saying that this is not just for America. This is cuts across the globe. Um, However, like I was saying, when it comes to overall crime, the US has the highest total crime rate than most developed countries, particularly those in Europe and East Asia. As far as violent crimes, the US rates for violent crime, homicide, rape, and robbery are several times higher than the average for reporting European countries. Homicide, the US rate is substantially higher than other high income countries. The US rape rate was approximately 7 times higher than the European average. US robbery rates were about 4 times higher than those in Europe. Property crime, which is theft and auto, rates in the US were approximately twice as high as Europe. And in reputation estimates of crime across the globe, the US generally ranks slightly below the middle, roughly 70th lowest or 100th highest. I don't know if they're trying to throw that in there to make it sound like it's acceptable, but it's so yeah. So when it comes to industrialized countries, America really has a problem with the crime rate, and I think really, truth be told, it all starts at the top. So I think that what we're looking at with the corruption that just goes on in government, with these like one person, he said that here you have Biden, who is a career politician, but yet Biden is I don't know how much, he's definitely a millionaire, and which most of these career politicians are, because they are getting a lot of their money from not their role as a government official representing the American people, but through deals, backhand deals and things like that. This is how they come into these millions of dollars. And they were talking about, I heard a program today where they were talking about um, the programs that they're looking at cutting and things like that. And it's all the working class people are the ones who are going to suffer most. Even if Trump comes in and does these tariffs, they're just saying that the increase in the price of goods is just going to be passed on once again to 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 the average people. And so the average people are already strained, particularly the young generation, who most of them have an apartment paying 1,000 something a month to live. So now, really, the wages that the young people are getting, they're nothing more than slave wages. And what is a slave wage? A slave wage means that the majority of your work, you're getting you're not getting paid anymore so that you can enjoy life. You're not you're going to pay for food, shelter, clothing. You're not going to, if you get any entertainment, it's going to be sparse entertainment. You're not going to go on any serious vacation or leisure time. And, uh, as far as the joy of life, is going to be little, few, and far between. But you all go right ahead, and we'll get some more into this holiday shopping. And I just wanted to say this is one of the reasons why, we're talking about this subject of being safe, because we're not being told the truth. And let me
Okay.
see here.
Now,
Oh,
Sanford, I'm gonna ask you a question so we can keep this organized. Do you
yeah.
want to cover self-defense items first, or do you want to cover strategies of when
Well,
you're inside your home first?
well, let's go down the list. So the first thing we got is home safety. So we can talk about some things that we can do at home. Um,
Okay.
that even strategies or some items we can just have at home for general safety and some safety things we can look out for. So we can start with that.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Then I'm gonna say first thing off, you want to have layers of defense to your house. You can have security doors, fences, cameras, different things. The more layers of defense that you've got set up, even the deadbolt locks, you should have those items that the deadbolt goes into, that goes into the door. You should have 4-inch screws in those, 3 to 4 inch screws instead of the 1 inch or half-inch screws that come with it. You want to spend decent money on a deadbolt so that it's quality enough it can't be easily picked, and it's going to take ample force to kick through. You want to have some sort of thick door or solid core door. A lot of doors are hollow core and can be kicked through. And you want to have some sort of steel door. If it's wood, it should be solid hardcore door, oak or something of that nature. But you definitely want to have layers of defense set up to, if given a choice, a person looking at your house, how well it's lit outside versus the neighbor's house looking half dark. Uh, when they start looking at the security signs, alarm signs, they see cameras, and then your neighbor has nothing, and outside their house is pretty dark where they can hide in shadows. If given a choice, a criminal is going to pick the measure of least resistance to try to target someone. Also, in choosing items that, if you had to go hand to hand inside a home, those items or tools that you choose should take in consideration your physical, moral, and I say religious limitations. Uh, if you don't have it in your heart to kill somebody, then a firearm might be a poor choice for you, because if push came to shove, you'll hesitate on using it, and that hesitation could cost you your life. Anywhere that you hesitate, both outside or inside your home, you're giving that person time to defeat you. So if you got physical limitations, then an impact weapon. If you have, say, a weak grip in your hand, you're not going to choose a club or a bat or a blackjack or something that's going to require ample grip for weapon retention, because if a person can easily get that weapon from you, they can turn it against you. So if you got a weak grip, if that's part of your physical limitation, old age or something, impact weapon would not be your choice. If you have moral limitations, that you just feel you can't do something and you're not able to reprogram your mind All these things have to be taken in consideration when you start choosing the layers of defense. I mean, you can even have a good dog inside the house, and if you have him well trained to where he will defend you, for a lot of women, that could be another layer of defense to the property. But I'm gonna stop there for right now, Sanford. Let you say a few things too.
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you think about even decoy items? You mentioned something that's a very good thing about even signage. It talks about having an alarm system. I recently found out there's some in-house apps, like you have a Ring doorbell. Well, if you have a Ring doorbell and you put in your zip code, everybody that has a Ring doorbell with that zip code, they have a community amongst each other they can get to online, and they can actually discuss the crimes or things that's happening within that area. And I didn't know that existed till this week.
No, I didn't
Uh,
either.
yeah, so after I researched that, the other companies do that too. So when you download that app from wherever that company is, there's a whole community within that zip code, and they got a network and social media pages that talk about crime or what's happened or what they've seen in the area. So I think that's something good that people ought to start looking into and researching. Um, that's a really I was really surprised to see that. So I was really glad to see that. I know this time of year, and one of the things you and I did before, Aaron, we were talking about just even the presentation of your home, because you're right. The path of the least resistance is what the common criminal is going to take. So, if you can make your home look groomed, make sure the snow is shoveled. That way they can tell maybe some constant activity is going there and they don't know when you're home or when you're not home, as opposed to leaving area where tracks can be determined whether you're there or not. You mentioned about a dog. One time Brother Muhammad mentioned about if you don't have a camera system, they have faux cameras, fake cameras that you can buy for a couple of dollars online to put up. I'm a big advocate of the dog bone or a dog bowl that can be present on a porch or something. You know, you can buy right now. You can buy, man. You can go to Walmart, and I just saw this. They got cheap timers, man, as little as $10, and that can time this at least one or two lights in your house, where
Mhm.
nobody can determine exactly what time that you may be there or you may not be there. So we have to do things. You know how we say, I say, you're doing by scheduling an unscheduled process. So you don't want anybody to get comfortable and understand or think they know exactly what your schedule is. But all the things you
Mhm.
mentioned prior about the in-home thing, that's 100%. People never talk about what you just mentioned about the length of the screws that go into the deadbolt. That's an amazing tool, man, to keep somebody from just punching through your house. You
Mhm.
know, cheap motion detectors. These things, cost nothing now. Cheap
Mhm.
motion
True.
detectors. Anything that makes them think to say, aha, I see you. So yeah, I think those are very good points in dealing with the layers of defense and
And
layers of make people aware. What are you thinking, Brother Muhammad?
I was just wanting to chime in on what you all were saying about those communities too, because I've seen that, and actually people will upload videos from their Ring camera or whatever defense camera that they have, that they'll show a certain person if they're suspicious in the community. So like you said, that's an excellent community that people can join if they might have to look it up and find out what device they have and join that community. Another thing that people might want to think about if they're away from home is maybe they can figure out a device to make it sound like there's a dog in the house that barks. Every now and then they'll have some audio playing where the dog will bark or something like that. But I think that, like you said, any way that a person can make a person who may be thinking of breaking into their home do another, think again, is a step that they can definitely take. So I love the information that you all just gave out.
Then I'd
Mm.
like to mention actually three other points here. One, they do make alarms that you can hang on your door handle If someone's on the other side, turn the door handle, it will trigger alarm inside that will alert you to the presence of someone trying to come in. Even if the door is locked, as long as you got it hanging there, it will trigger that alarm. So those are valuable to get. They're very inexpensive. They're under $20. The
Mm-hmm.
signage that you would put on your door. I'm a member of the NRA or something. Now, some people feel that that works as a deterrent because they know there's a gun in the house. But if a person learns your schedule when you go to work and go away, they know when they enter that house, there's guns for them to find, and they will ransack your house looking for those guns. So you don't want to give them that kind of information. And plus, if they know there's a gun in the house, they may come in with a gun just in case someone's there. And they'd be willing to use that against you because now they want to be equally armed or better armed so they can overwhelm you. And then another item would be for people not to be lazy around Christmas time and throw big boxes that show that you just bought a flat screen TV or different items of value out at the street. Take the time, cut them up, put them down in the trash. Don't be lazy with that because a criminal is looking for opportunities or trying to figure out if there's something worth something in your house. They're looking at those boxes that you put out at the street to determine what you may have that they can get their hands on that could be considered fast cash. So I'll stop there for right now.
Yeah, that's good. I know a lot of people, when they deliver like UPS or Amazon or whatever, may deliver their packages, and there's a lot of that that's taking place as far as that type of theft that's taking place. So, um, what would you all advise as far as that's concerned?
Well, in my case, I have a next door neighbor that if I'm not going to be there, and I will tell them if UPS comes up, grab my packages for me, or I may make arrangements with UPS to have my package delivered next door, so that I don't have to worry about that being outside in the event I'm not there. Now, right now I'm retired, so I'm at home most of the time to get my packages. But anytime I'm not, I always alert my neighbor. Can you get my package for me? And they'll take care of that. Or can you just keep an eye on my house for me until I get back? And in the event that I'm going to be gone and for an extended period of time, and my neighbors will watch out for me. They'll get my mail, newspaper, anything that I need to pick up. So we have that sense of community right there. And I would encourage people to do that, especially if there's elderly in the neighborhood. They're constantly peeking out the windows, peeking between the blinds, every little noise. They're a valuable person to have on your side in the event you have to be going to work or something. They'll keep an eye on your house for you. I'll
Yeah,
stop
that's
there,
good.
Steve. Mhm.
No, that's good because I think that once again that we're talking about building up the community, and here there's just another reason why we should definitely know our neighbors and get to know who's in our community and look out for them and have them look out for us. So that's real good. Um, would you all like to now go on to as we leave the home and go to the shopping malls and how we should, you know, exit our homes, and what should we do as far as shopping when we get to these outlet malls?
Well, again, proper threat assessment before you leave to choose what items you may want to have on you for self defense, knowing where you're going. And if you want to, you may tell a family member, well, here's my scheduled day. I'm going to attend these different stores. So if something does happen, they know about what your route was. Yeah, it takes an extra step, but that extra layer of security is worth it. In the event you come up missing, they know at least have a starting point of where to go to look for you. Then when you're out in public, let's say you're going to a restaurant, I never sit down. As I sit down, I've already surveilled the room and I have alternative ways of how I'm going to exit in the event a shooter comes in or robbers come in or any incident starts to happen inside that room. I've always got exit points. And then I've also determined in my mind if I can't get to those exits, can I create an exit? Creating an exit would be if there's loose chairs in the room that I can grab and throw through a window and then exit through that window. That's creating an opening. the way that you came into that building is not the way you want to exit, because people will be trampling people to try to get out through that exit. The safest way to me would be to know where the kitchen is, and because there's always an exit point on the backside of that kitchen to be able to get outside. So while
Mm-hmm.
everybody's headed toward the front and they're getting shot at by the shooter, you're slipping out the back, uh,
Mm-hmm.
totally unscathed. And as I
Mm-hmm.
sit down, I usually try to sit to where I can watch the front door. Unless I'm with someone that I trust will be doing that exact thing, then I might sit with my back to that doorway. But I constantly want to be able to view the door. And then as I sit down, I'll look around the room. I'll look at people and see if somebody looks like they're stressed out, or if they're real emotional and crying, or anything that I think could be a trigger for them to get up and just start going crazy in the room or start shooting. If I see someone watching me, I might draw a conclusion, a threat assessment of them. Do they look like they can handle themselves? Um, if they stand up, or as I see them come in, if I see bulges around their waist or something, could they be carrying a firearm on them? I'm making certain threat assessments, even though I might be with a group of people and we're talking. Anyone that's ever been out with me could tell you I'm the quiet one in the group because I'm constantly surveilling the room. But
Mm-hmm.
I, I'm gonna stop there for a second.
Yeah.
Give Sanford a chance to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all good points. The thing I think we need to be conscious of too, like you're talking about leaving and leaving your area, your home, and headed out. I think the mindset on top of being aware is understanding that we are in time that people are stressed. And sometimes when people get stressed, they do desperate things because they don't believe within themselves they have another way of dealing with something. So I wouldn't think it was far fetched to believe that a guy who was a father who couldn't take care of his family, provide for his family during the holiday time, might not do something that he wouldn't normally do because he feels like he has no other way to make a way, for his people. So
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, I think the first thing we need to do is be conscious that even though it's a celebratory time for most people, maybe there are a whole lot of people out here who are disadvantaged, and some people feel like they don't have hope, and some people are distressed. And good people can do bad things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that sense of awareness that you're talking about, Aaron, and paying attention to body language, 90% of communication is body language. I think it's important to do that. I think it's important that when you out, as you talked about the environment being in, well, I'm going to touch a little bit more on how you see, like you meant about subtle movements that people make, how they looking at you. If they looking at you when you bringing your money out, if you got your credit card out, how the ladies, I want ladies to wear a purse and wear it crossbody. That way, it gives a guy less chances to snatch the purse out of your hand and run away with it. I know it may look fashionable, but I mean, you got to think in guards of being guarded and being safe. The one thing I'm a firm believer in, and I say this to men too: if you got a flat wallet, if you can put your wallet in your front pocket and not in your rear pocket, do that. If you can separate your cash and the credit card that you're going to use, put that in a pocket and then put your wallet in a pocket with no information or no means for somebody, if they steal it, to use it's against you financially. You know what I mean? Even with ladies, I know you have a wallet inside your purse. Well, nothing wrong with taking that credit card out and that cash you got and sticking it in your front pocket. So if they take your wallet, they take your purse, they don't have everything. You can take your ID out and your cash and your credit card and put that in your pocket on your person. Most of the time, if you run across somebody, they're looking at what's a quick, easy access crime or to get away with. So snatching the purse from somebody, especially if they're not holding it cross body or just in the hand, is pretty easy. But if you got everything in that purse that they can use, then you've given them everything. So
Mm-hmm.
take 30 more seconds. It might be inconvenient to you. It may not be as cute to you because you're reaching in your pocket instead of going in your wallet. But right now we got to use good sense. And so you got to think about what that person or those kind of people would do. if they wanted to take advantage of you. So we can do little things like that, keeping your money on your body and your person, keeping that credit card you're going to use on your body and your person, keeping your ID on your body, on your person, as opposed to keeping it in a wallet. You can have your wallet, you can have your purse for a fashion thing. And like I said, for gentlemen, the same thing. If you got a flat wallet, put it in the front pocket. If not, if you want to keep your wallet in your back pocket, that's fine. But take the cash and the pertinent things that you're going to use and put that in a pocket. That way, at least they don't have as easy access. And I would, I've dealt with a lot of criminals during my career. And what you said earlier, Brother Muhammad, they're looking for the easiest access.
Mm-hmm.
So if a guy, he's less likely to try to go in your pockets than he is for you just hand him a wallet.
Right.
Right. So
And
things like that.
you all make some good points, and I think when we're talking about like a crowded mall, watch people who bump, like you're saying, like both of you are saying, watch people who bump into you. People will have some very good sticky fingers. You might walk out of there and be missing your wallet or your credit card. I would say too, especially for women, if at all possible, do the buddy system. Don't go out alone, especially at night. Try to shop during the day. Don't shop at night. Don't do that. Even and when you do shop, like you're saying, brother Eric, no, I'm sorry, brother Sanford, I think you said it. When you do shop, just carry the necessary things. Don't be uh leaving your home with unnecessary things while you're shopping. Just have the credit card and the cash that you need, and as you were saying, have it to where it can't be snatched from you. And I would say also, let me think. What is some other things? Yeah, I think those are the two things. When you were talking, Brother Aaron, about active shooter, one of the things too that I would suggest, and when you're in a crowded mall, there's that possibility. So one of the things that you just don't want to do is just get up and run. That animal, that hunter instinct takes place in that active shooter. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for moving objects. So stay close to the ground, stay close to the wall, and I would say follow the janitor. Whatever door he go out, I'm kind of joking because there might not be a janitor there, but what I'm just saying is that sometimes there are those type of doors that you walk past in places that are exit points. They just don't want you to exit through that as a normal day shopper. But if something happens, look for those type of exit points. But yeah, we'll go from there. Did you all want to stay
Yeah,
in the store, or how
yeah.
about in the parking lot? Go right
Well,
ahead.
I'm gonna start off within the store still. Watch when you're in line, getting ready to check out. Be aware when you pull your wallet out or you open your purse, if someone's stretching their neck to try to see if they can see how much money you're carrying or what you got. Because I've had people practically put their chin on my shoulder, looking over my shoulder, trying to
Hmm.
look and seeing what's in my wallet. And ladies that like to put their purse into the shopping cart as they shop in the area where the child would sit, get you a D ring. You can get them in sporting goods or whatever, and attach it to the straps of your purse. And then when you set your purse in, attach it to the cart. That way, if someone punches you and then tries to grab your purse and run, they're dragging that grocery cart with them, and they're not getting nowhere fast. Because a lot of people don't expect that. Uh, Watch the signage that you put on your car windows. Again, a lot of people, parents are proud that their kid plays sports for their school. And I'm going to use football as an example. They'll have their kid's number or that they're on varsity or whatever. And if I see anything that I think that kid is varsity, I know at 7 o'clock on Fridays, your house is empty. Everybody's at the ball game that's in that family. And that's an opportunity for me. Watch the amount of free information you're giving away through being a proud parent on your car. And I would never list my child's name if it's a very young child that's in grade school, because they could show up at that school and say that their mother or father told me to come and pick up that kid. It's such and such here. And when you say that child's name, a lot of people would assume, well, they must have made these arrangements because they know the name. So I would not list a sticker that says my child's name and their number or whatever it is that they're on the team. Out at the restaurants or at a bar, if I order a beer or a wine cooler or something, I want it opened at the table. If you're going to open it prior to coming to the table, I'm going to send it back. I want to see it be open so I know exactly what it is I'm drinking. Fentanyl and some of these other drugs that they can dope you up with is just too prevalent right now to be taking unnecessary chances. If you don't see the container being opened, there's no way I'm drinking it. And then when you approach your car, if say it's a rainstorm and there's Ziploc ties on your windshield wipers, or somebody done smashed some eggs on your window, or there's $50 bill on your door handle or inside your divisor, your window. And a lot of times those are fake 50s and 100s. They just ran off on a copier. Don't be bending over, picking up the money. As soon as you see that someone has done something to distract you, immediately go back in the store. Start to get real aware of your surroundings and go back in the store and call for help. Either law enforcement or a family member or a friend that's off work at that time. Know again your network you've got set up of who's off at that time and on what day that you could call and have them meet you in that parking lot, because someone is targeting you. There's nobody accidentally dropping money, not in this day and time. And a lot of times, like I said, they'll just run off one side on a copy machine and lay it on the ground. And as soon as you bend over and raise up, they're on top of you. They done moved in on you. So I would do that. Also, let's say that you're traveling and you get a flat tire and you're in a bad area. A rim is a lot easier to replace a bent rim than your life. So I would continue to drive on it until I got into a safer area or until I could call for help and someone meet me somewhere. And then I'd be willing to stop that car. But if I'm in a bad area, there's no way I'm going to be stopping that car. And if somebody gets to drop on you and they start talking about get in this van or car, don't do it. Because in this day and time, the organ harvesting and sex trafficking is so prevalent, especially in Ohio where we're at. I think we're in the top 4 in the nation for that right now. If you get in the car, you ain't going to be seen again. And if you are seen again, it's because they done emptied your organs out and dumped your carcass somewhere. So you're just going to have to do me right here, right now, in front of everybody, because I'm not getting in the car with you. So if you guys want to add anything else at this time, I'll stop for right now.
Well, you know what? I want to go back to the store. I tell you something I see stores they've been doing over the last couple of years, and we you know what's funny? When human beings talk to each other, we feel compelled to answer questions. You know, stores have a habit now. When you buy something, they ask you for a phone number. What you want my phone number for? You don't need my phone number. I say my phone number out loud. Now the man, the lady behind me, they got your phone number. You know, if you feel compelled to do that, as simple as this sounds, you take your little card, write your information down. If they ask for your phone number, you can say, here it is right here. And then look at it and then put that back into your wallet or put it back into your purse. But giving that information out loud, that's not thinking. But we're so compelled to cooperate and disregard that it may be somebody else that can take that information for bad. We got to start thinking a different way. The RFID readers, you know, the chip card is what they want you to have, but you can buy a device. A criminal can buy a device, and if they can get close enough to your wallet or close enough to where that card is, they can actually get the information off that card. And so that goes around your personal space within the stores. I know they're going to be crowded. I know the lines are going to be long. but you got to be conscious of that. So anything that's going to offer you giving up personal information, if you feel like you want to give it up, have it written down on the back of a little card. And when they ask for your
Mhm.
number, you say, "Here you go." I don't want to say it out loud. When you go to pay for something and it asks for your your PIN code when you pay for something, there's always an option to not use your PIN code to buy something. Ask the
Right.
cashier, "What's the option for me to ring it up without using my PIN code?" Because somebody behind you or next to you, even the people that work there, this time of year they scamming.
Mhm.
So within the place, even when you're shopping within those places, start thinking about those kind of things. You got to really think about what's the easiest way for somebody to get your information and get to you. And so, and then to go what you said, Brother Aaron, about even going to the car. You talked about when you get back to the car. Well, you want to park in well lit areas if possible. You know, um, you do better to park in a well lit area that's closer than you would somewhere far away. The other thing I tell people to do, and I do this all the time, I carry one or two towels in my car. And I carry the kind of sunscreen that you have in the windshield all year. I have one of my favorite sports teams, and I put it in wintertime, summertime, anytime. So it's harder to see in my car, but I always carry a dark towel. And if I buy something, I sit it on the floor and I'll set that towel on top of it. I don't
Mhm.
want people to be able to look in my car and see something that they want to get. Because the big thing that's going right now is windshield breakers. I mean, you buy them online from Amazon for $5 and they pop a windshield, open your trunk, and just open it up and see if it's in there. They're doing that patrolling through malls. This past summer, I
Mhm.
saw several videos and I was shocked. It was young ladies and they were just literally riding through malls, popping the windshield and open the trunks because they figure if you're going shopping, you're going more than one place. So when you get through one place, you're filling the trunk up with all these things you bought, or the back seat of your car with all these things you bought, and then they're popping them. And if there's nothing there, they driving off. And when you get outside, you got a destroyed windshield.
Mhm.
So try to do
Yeah.
things that don't make it seem obvious for somebody to come in and find something. You want to make it harder than the harder, like you said earlier. The more you can offer for a deterrent at any level, the better it is for
Mhm. And I want to Ye
Go ahead.
I want to just I just wanted to, what you were saying with the children is that, of course, they're our most precious, commodity, our most precious and valued thing is our children. So one of the things I think that we should definitely do when we go out with our children is definitely we should have them to have a code word. They should have a code word, and every family member should know that code word. And if any stranger, and teaching them that any stranger that approaches you that don't know that code word, do not go with them, because strangers, these predators have different type of ways. Your mama told me that she wanted you to come with me and take you there, here or there. So definitely have a code word for their children, and let them know what they should do if they get separated. So if you do go to a mall and you have children and you get separated, have a place that if you do get separated, that you're going to join back up if you get separated in that type of meeting place. Um, One of the things that you all were talking about too is, when you're bending over, not seeing who's behind you. There's another scam that women definitely have to worry about, is that if somebody is walking up to you and they have on like a mask, like a COVID mask or something like that, and they're saying, "Can you look at this? Can you help me find this place?" Understand that what they most likely have on that material is some type of thing that will have you incapacitated and have you unconscious. So that is something that you definitely want to look out for as well. There are keychains where you can hit and it'll cause a siren. And I know that sometimes that's not a good thing, but one of the things that it does do is that at least have people looking that way. And criminals definitely don't like attention. So, if you feel threatened, use your vocal cords. Like you're saying, one of the things that you just do not want to do is allow them to get you into that van or that vehicle. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to freeze up and comply. You want to fight. Yeah. So go right ahead.
Then I'd like to add probably about four things here. Going back to what Sanford said about that scanner that they can scan you, that's the reason when I go out and shop, my wallet is in my front pocket somewhere because that scanner is no bigger than a cell phone. And if they can get close enough behind you and just wipe that thing across your body, they've got your, if you got one of those smart cards and credit cards in your wallet that you can tap with, oh, they've
Mhm.
got your numbers real easy right then. That's another reason why you want to be concerned with how close a person's getting behind you when you're in line to check out. Another thing, if you're a person that likes to walk jog and you've got your radio with your earplugs in, take one of them earplugs out. You need to be able to hear if someone's sneaking up on you or running up on you from behind. Too many people are getting snatched because their sense of hearing is totally blocked because of the music that they're listening to and them not being aware of their surrounding at the same time. Another item, when I walk around corners, I don't take the shortest distance around that corner. I walk wide around the corner. I want that moment to be able to react if someone suddenly jumps out at me. I don't want to come around the corner and be immediately hit before I have a chance to see this threat materialize. So I walk a little wider around corners than what most people will. And then lastly, I can't count the number of videos I've seen on Facebook and other pages where women would have two or more children with them and someone comes up and snatches their child. Now, usually they work in teams of three or more. You have the person in the vehicle that's waiting closely by. You got the person that's going to snatch the kid, and then you got the blocker. They come up, you're busy, you're carrying a baby bag and baby one arm, you got a young child walking next to you. They'll grab that child that's walking next to you, knowing that your hands are full and you're not going to drop that baby. And then they'll start to go for the door. Now, if you start moving too fast, the blockers step up like they're getting ready to go to the counter to check out, or they're getting to the doorway and start to pull the door open, but they're dragging, they're going slow, anything to slow you down. And then by the time you get past the blocker, that car with your child is long gone. If you got two or more children with you and you got to go out shopping, you need to have another person with you. That man needs to get up off his butt and be there for security, or you need to take your in laws or somebody needs to be there with you. Because if your hands are full of
Mhm.
baby bag and baby, the child that's running loose is the easy target for them to snatch. If you got another person with you, they can be right on it. But if you don't, how are you going to stop them? Because everybody knows you're not going to drop that kid that's in your arms. And let's say you just got a young infant child, and it's just you. You got baby bag in one hand, young infant child. They come up and grab you. How are you going to fight? And if you drop the baby bag, you might have two men, one on each side of you. You got one arm free, and you got that baby. So if they take you, they get a 2-for-1. They get you and the child because all you can do is swing the one arm. But if you got an additional person with you, your chances of escaping go way up versus you trying to
Mhm.
take on two strong men that 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to beat them individually. And you've got a young child in your arms that you literally would have to drop, and you're not going to do that. So,
Mhm.
and they know that. So, I'll
Yeah.
stop there for right now.
That's good. And one of the things I see people do too is that they'll go to their vehicle and they just sit there inside their vehicle and just be looking down at their phone. So one of the things that I would like for to let people be aware of is just like we've been saying this whole night, is just to be aware of your surroundings and don't meander. Get what you got to go get and get up on out of there. um let me look at some of these other, because you all were talking about the RFID, where people can readers where people can swipe your information. Another thing that we definitely need to look out for is when we go to these gas stations, and pay at this pump. Sometimes they have these I don't know what they're,
Schemers.
scammers or
Yes.
something
Yep.
like that, and you put your credit card information in there, and when you type those numbers, then they have access to your money. One of the things that looks listening to like Clark Howard and who is that, Kim Commando, right? One of the things that they say don't never do is go shopping with your debit card. Don't shop with your debit card. They say shop with a credit card, or use I think it's like a mobile wallet, where you can literally use your phone and it will pay for whatever you have. Because if you use your debit card, you have to understand that your debit card is directly connected to your bank account, and if they get access to your bank account and drain it, you will have to then go and fight it. And it's harder to fight because you don't have like Visa or MasterCard backing you up fighting it. You have to go and fight for your money. And who knows when you'll get that money back. And you have to understand that you still got to pay rent. You still got to pay for that car payment. You still got to pay for whatever. So don't use your debit card to do your shopping. But I'll go ahead and let you all get some more in.
Well, I want
Okay,
to cover a couple.
Sam.
Go ahead.
No, I was. Go ahead and finish your thought, and then I'll say what I'm gonna say.
Well, I was just thinking about when we were talking about, you were talking about having your hands full. Um, you know, in my career, one of the things we learned when I was a cop is that for me, you always keep one hand empty. And that was so I can have access to some of my protection tools, whichever hand I use for that particular task. And that's something you have to be really conscious of. So no, a lot of times, like I said, nobody's aware, especially, and I'm not picking on ladies, but they think and they shop different than we do. And so I've seen several ladies, man, have bags in both hands, and they enjoying the moment, the bliss of having the bags in their hands. You know, whereas opposed to me, well, I'm thinking, how much can I carry this one time, and I can manipulate. If a guy snatch a bag for real, okay, it's gone. They take it, that's fine. My main thing is being able to put myself in a position where if I need to physically protect myself, I got an arm and a hand free that I can possibly use a device to protect myself. Um, I think that's really important. And so, at all costs, not just even with kids, just to be aware that both your hands are full. So both your hands are full. What you gonna do if something happens? Now, be willing to give it up, because the property crap is not that important. But for your safety, put yourself in a position where you can use a hand if you need to. Um, when you talked about the vehicle thing, I don't know where we are yet, but where we are in our process, but just in transit, pay attention if you go from one store to another. If you see this guy, this lady in the same stores you go to, now it can happen. It could be a coincidence, but you see somebody two or three times, two or three different stores, it's highly likely they may be following you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you need to be aware of. This is why it's important to make eye contact with people. You make eye contact and let them know that I see you and I saw you. So if you see them in another store, nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, didn't I just see you at Walmart? Didn't I just see you at the mall?" You want to let them know that you saw them. So if it's a coincidence,
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing. But if it's actually something that means something, then you want to let them know that you're aware that that may be a possibility. And in transit, don't get so caught up in the music. Don't get so caught up in the holiday lights. If you feel like somebody's following you, instead of going directly where you're going, maybe take a little detour, go around the corner, and see if they follow you around the corner. I always say, one of the things we do, make 4 right turns. 4 right turns take you in a complete circle. If they follow you 4 right turns, they're probably really following you. So those kind of things just be conscious of, along with the own person things, because a criminal that thinks you're vulnerable and they see you with bags, or even in certain areas shopping, because certain areas you may spend more money. You know what they do? They treat it as such. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if you look vulnerable and you seem to have access to a certain kind of means, well, yeah, it's worth following you, especially if
Mm-hmm.
you're somebody who's by themselves. And so just
Right.
keep that in mind. If you see somebody more than once, acknowledge to them that you saw them, let them know. And if you take a route a certain way and you think somebody's following you, do some things a little different where you can determine where they are. You know, when you're within the store, there's nothing wrong with asking somebody in the store if they'll walk you to a car
Mm-hmm.
if they have time. You know, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with if you see somebody in the store, if you see a couple and say, hey, look, I'm a little uncomfortable. Do you mind if we walk together? Nothing wrong with that. That same community base you have when you're in your neighborhood, you have to take that same mindset when you're out shopping, because I think people would be shocked at how many other people actually have the same feelings, the same thoughts, and nobody talks about it. You mentioned
Mm-hmm.
something, Brother Steve, about a device to make noise. I'm a firm believer in that. You know, if it's
Mm-hmm.
not a whistle, you know, they got these little air horns. And I teach classes and I would give one out as a giveaway. You know, and it can fit in a lady's pocket. They're small, but it's an air horn that sounds loud like what you hear at the halftime of a football game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
anything to draw attention. You know, if you feel uncomfortable about something, and even if you're wrong, I'd rather be wrong than get home, you know, and and not worry about my ego or my little pride or embarrassment. I'd rather be wrong than get home first. I don't want to take anything for
Mm-hmm.
granted. I'll let you go ahead, Steve.
No, I definitely agree with everything you're saying, and I think you had said some programs back that, like you saying, in addition to those left turns, if you feel that they're still following you, do not go home. One of the things that you definitely want to do is, if you can, call the police station, tell them you're on your way, and tell them that this car, give them the make and model if you can, is following me. When you
That's right.
pull up in that police station, like I think you said that they come
That's
right
right.
on out and they can arrest that person that's been following you.
That's
But do
exactly
not
right.
go home if you feel that someone is following you for sure. And
Then one other thing. Oh, go ahead.
mhm. I want to
Uh,
just say one of the things that you were saying, Brother Aaron, about being in the checkout line too, is that be cautious when you're giving out your number at the checkout. It can lead to phishing emails. When you give out your information at that checking counter, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing it in a very secure way, because there's definitely people who are, listening to get that information from you. But go right ahead.
and then just one other point I wanted to make out. If you're in the parking lot and you're close to your car, instead of fishing for that personal alarm on your keychain, on your key itself, there should be a panic horn button that you can hit that button and it will start sounding your car horn. And you're more than likely to get more people to look because that car horn is going to be a lot louder than the personal alarm. And
Mhm.
you'll get some people looking that direction. Now, wherever they're going to come and help you is a totally another thing, but you will get some people looking that way when you hit that panic button on your key ring, on your key chain, I guess. And I'll stop
Mhm.
there for right now.
You know, one thing I want to bring up real quick, and I tell my wife this and my daughter. You know, cars have been made within certain years. You get in and start the car. Well, that the door's locked if you put it in gear. You know, I try to
Mhm.
tell them when you get in the car, lock the door. Don't wait till you start the car and put the car in gear for the doors to lock automatically. That's a bad habit we create, especially if you're in a
Mhm.
public place. Because if you're in the car and the door's not locked, nothing, the first line of defense to keep them from snatching the door open is not there. So I even do it myself. When I get in my car, I lock the doors, then I start the car. I don't wait until
Mm,
my car is put in gear and for the automatic door locks to kick in. That
mhm.
convenience can be something that's a bad habit that's completely unsafe. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's just something I want to throw out there. When you get in the car, you lock the doors manually, and
Yeah,
then you
that's
go ahead and
big.
start the car. But lock them as soon as you get in the car.
Hmm. So I think if you all want, we can do some online safety tips. If you think that we've covered everything as far as just our physical safety is concerned, if we want to go online, I'll start it off. You know, one of the things. Oh, one of the things that we definitely don't want to do is I have my laptop with me like everywhere, but when we go out and we're in public places, we definitely don't want to do shopping online using public Wi-Fi. Using public Wi-Fi will is one of the best ways to get all of your banking information stolen. So definitely don't use public Wi-Fi to do any type of banking information. And as a matter of fact, if you do any type of banking, the best thing to do is to not store they want to try to make it convenient, like you were saying about those locked doors, and sometimes this convenience only sets you up to be a victim. And we hear every day about this company being hacked and all their personal data stolen, this company. So when you go shopping, sometimes they say, would you like to store your credit card information
Right.
on this site? No, don't do it. Keep your credit card. If you have to go through the arduous manually typing it in every time, at least you have a secure a mindset every time you go shopping. So I'll just say that as far as beginning this part off.
Okay. Let me say something, then we can get into what's commercial available as far as self defense tools. But
Mm,
basically, if you're going to be out in public, if you got martial arts training or you're a good street fighter, whatever, great. But have you at least a 2 or 3 step combination that you can practice? Make sure that it's good. It has to work. Make sure it's something that you know will work, and make sure you practice it to a level it becomes muscle memory. That way you can do it without even thinking about it. The faster you are to go into your self defense, the better chances you got of walking away. If you're hesitant or if you can't remember something or you start to do the combination and you get stuck, you're giving that person a chance to defeat you. Then, when you're dealing with a situation like that, the 3 areas of the body that you should be focusing on as a woman or anybody that doesn't have a lot of physical strength is going to be their eyes, throat, and groin area. That's the 3 areas
mhm,
that can easily disable a man, provided you can hit with enough force and you can hit accurately. Again, that combination has to be fast. It's got to have bad intentions behind it. And you want to do maximum damage to the person. So if it means pulling a knife or whatever, the more blood of theirs you can make hit the ground, the better off you are, because one, you can drive them off. Two, if they have to seek medical help, the police will contact every urgent care or emergency room for anybody showing up with battle damage. And three, if they leave DNA at the scene, skin, hair, uh, blood, and they're a career criminal and they're in the system, that's a better chance of you being rescued in the event that they abducted you. And the evidence technicians pull that DNA, they can pull that person up. So that increases your chances of being rescued. So don't be squeamish when it comes to what type of damage that you're going to do to that person. And then even if you have, say, a CCW where you can carry your gun concealed, you still should have self-defense tools with you. Because one, you can't take that gun everywhere. There'll be signage up that will not allow you to take that gun on those premises. So you won't be able to have that weapon there. And a lot of criminals prey on that very fact. It helps create distance between you and the individual. If you got a self-defense tool on you that you can strike with, step back a couple feet, and that would give you time to be able to draw that gun if you've got one on you, or give you a chance to start to escape. And then let's say that you have to use your firearm and your firearm runs out of bullets. What are you going to transition to? The average person does not carry extra spare mags on them. So if you've got something else that you can fall back on, then that would be great. And that's the reason why you want to have some self-defense tools, even if you're a martial artist, just to back up your present skills. Then that's what you want to do. And if you guys want to, at this time, we can get into what's commercially available on the market as far as self-defense tools. Sanford, do you want to go first, or which one?
Well, I'll say this first. You know, you talked about a couple of things. The one thing I want to keep in mind, we want to try to think about the everyday person. So as opposed to a confrontation, if you can create distance, do that first.
Right.
So if you have an opportunity to get away or create distance, I want you to do that first. I don't want you to get caught up in the mindset that I'm gonna challenge this person, because the one thing for certain, two things for sure. Anybody that approaches you, they approach you because they think they can defeat you. So that means they already have the mindset that you will not be a challenge at all for them. Because if they thought you were going to be a challenge, they would pick somebody else. It goes back to what we talked about, the least path of resistance. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if somebody's willing to challenge you, then that's because they believe they have the upper hand. It's the same thing when they come into your home. If somebody comes into your home, it's because they believe that you inside that home can't stop them. So that needs to be carried on when you're in the street and everywhere else. So the mindset has to be somewhat of like, I'm going to win, but if I can create distance and keep myself safe and avoid the confrontation at all costs, I don't care what you got in your hands. If you got to leave it all behind, that's what I want you to do first. I want you to create some distance and try to make a safe space for yourself. The violence, or what they would call violence, which I would call protecting yourself, that's a last resort. You know, and Aaron mentioned about, about your moral things and your religious beliefs. I mean, that's something you really have to have your mind made up about before you even leave your home, because things happen. We can go from there, Aaron. You can start talking about some of the defensive tools, and I'll talk about some of the unconventional tools we can use.
All right. Well, let's start off with keychains. Now, let me say this. God gave you two hands, okay? Put something in each hand. That's harder to defeat than a person that has just counting on one thing in one hand, and then a person's using both their arms to try to get a hold of that one hand and disarm you and then use that weapon on you. So God gave you two hands. If they're both functional, put a weapon in each hand. Good combinations of certain weapons are great. I mean, in this day and time in my area, brass knuckles are legal. So you can go with a brass knuckle on one hand and a out the front knife in the other hand. They come in different sizes. A lot of women like shorter ones with the shorter blade to them, but it's one hand operation. That way, if you got a hold of them and you got this in the other hand and you got it out of reach where they can't reach it, you can open and close with one hand. It don't take two hands to open this. Those are valuable to have, and it leaves a lot of DNA behind. Second thing could be a pen. Now, a pen itself, you can drive it into a person's eyes, throat, or groin area. Remember, those are three areas we're functioning on. Or this type of pen, if you pull it apart, it has a knife blade inside of it. You're looking at about $8 on something like this, and they do right. But you can have this clipped onto your shirt or somewhere where you can just snatch it down, knife comes out, and again, you're aiming for eyes, throat, and groin. You're going to incapacitate as quick as you can and break contact. You won't be there fighting them all day. You're walking to your car, got your comb in your hand. Very nonchalant, very non-threatening. Someone's going to throw you a surprise party and they're going to jump out and surprise you from behind the car. You just grab the front of the comb and pull, and you have a knife in your hand to be able to throw the surprise party back on them. And again, if you got your keychain in your upper hand with your pepper spray, it's a party, because you can spray with one hand, and if they're holding their breath coming in at you, because a lot of people can hold their breath for 2 or 3 minutes, that's a long time that they've got to wail on you and do you harm or pick you up and throw you into a vehicle. But you got spray in one hand. If they're still coming at you, you got the knife in the other hand. That would be valuable to have. Now, let's get into keychain devices. This here is called a monkey fist. Got key ring on one end, big ball. Sometimes they're ball bearings. This is a little bit smaller than a pool ball here. And you just hold on to your keys. They come at you and you whop them. This hurts like a bear, especially if you get struck to the head or around the neck or something. This can knock you out. So this is a great weapon to have. Again, it hangs on the bottom of a keychain. A lot of people don't know what they are, but overseas in the Far East, #1 self-defense weapon, they call them monkey fists. And 2 other impact weapons. Again, in my area, these were just made legal. It's called a slapjack. It's got a metal thing at the end. Got a strap for your hand. Smack the heck out of somebody. Temple, base of skull, you knock them out. Turn it sideways, hit with the edge, it cuts. But hurts like a bear. And then this is called a blackjack. It's a lead sap, spring loaded. You hit joints, it breaks them. You slap to the mouth, it knocks teeth out. I mean, talking about 18 to 20 bucks per an item. These are what you call impact weapons, because you're striking and you're using the power of your arm. Back in the old days, the majority of weapons that were made for self-defense were impact design, because a lot of times the woman wouldn't go out without the husband, and it was the husband that carried them. So it's usually something that was designed around a man's strength. But a woman could carry them too if she's got enough arm strength. This is called a baton. You slap it out, it extends out. Now this one is a 21 inch. You can get them in 18 inches, 12 inches. You can get them in 26. And now they got the new 32s out. And you use it to strike with. I mean, I can take this thing here, pull it out of my purse, flick my arm, and I've got a self-defense tool in my hand. Or something like this, 21 inch, you're talking $26, 28 inch, which a lot of police carry, about $28. Made of metal, hurts to be struck with. Great combination. Pepper spray in one hand to spray them, this in the other hand in the event they want to come in. Pepper spray will choke them up where they can't breathe, take their eyes out where it's harder to see, that's harder to defend themselves, and you can wail on them at will. As soon as they start to back off, you run the other direction, because you want to create that distance. That's the thing that you want to go into. Now, for those that don't have a lot of arm strength or don't feel the confidence to flip it out, they have what they call an auto baton. What you do is you take your thumb, push the safety off. You have a handle here that you squeeze. When you squeeze the handle, it opens by itself. That's usually why it's called an auto baton. You're looking at about 40 bucks on something like this. Again, small enough for a woman to carry in her purse, but good enough that with this in her hand and something in the upper hand, you could have a knife in the upper hand, but fill both hands with something, because now it's going to be hard to deal with you. One thing I could try to fight against. 2 things: if I block this arm, I'm getting hit here. If this hand gets blocked, you're striking with this hand. But those would be impact weapons. Getting back to keychain weapons. You have 2 types that you see commonly. This one you see commonly on people's chain. This is called a coup baton. Keys on one end, you have your point on the other hand. A lot of police departments that have a lady self-defense course centered on this. Again, you can hold it in your hand, eyes, throat or uppercut into the groin with that pointed end. Or if they grab you, you could take that pointed end. If they grab you by your shirt or your arm, and you can drive that down into them. And believe me, they're going to turn you loose. It's very painful to be hit by, but you only have one point of attack here. Now, you're looking at about $7 on something of this nature. The one I like better is the Ninja Kubotan. You got your keys on one end, you have your point on the bottom, but then you also have two strikers here. When you're walking to your car, it fits your hands like this. Again, keys are here. This is already ready to hit and twist to rip their flesh, or you could grab them by the shirt or by the hair and bring them forward. A lot of women like to hit in a hammer motion. And you got that pin sticking out at the bottom. So you can punch and you can hammer fist. Or if you want to turn it around the other way, you can hold it this way with the keys hanging down the bottom. Again, punching, you can ridge hand with it, or you can uppercut into their groin area with that pointed end, or into their solar plexus, or you can hit them up into their throat. Very effective weapon to use. This type of weapon here, again, $7. I sell all the stuff that I'm showing you. Another keychain, fighting cat. Real popular with the college girls. Even though the colleges say you can't have a weapon, a lot of them don't know about this. You put your first two fingers through the eye holes, you make a fist, and as you can see it punching, you can hit both eyes at the same time. Punch into the throat, punch into the groin area. It has a chain on it, but this little clasp here is very weak. You can have this hanging next to a pepper spray on your keychain. Put your fingers in it, snatch, that chain breaks. You got pepper spray you're spraying with, and you're striking with the other hand. So, very effective weapon. If you're going in where there's a metal detector, you have these type keychains that are made out of polymer. It's a very hard plastic. They make the Glock hand grips out of them. That's called a Brutus. It's a keychain. Again, put your fingers through the eye holes and punching with the teeth on this one. The other one, you're punching with the ears. But most people would think, oh, well, that person's a dog lover because they got the Brutus on the keychain. They don't realize that that's a self-defense tool. That would give you an idea of some keychain self-defense items. Now you get into chemical sprays. Chemical sprays come in probably about, I say, 5 different sizes. I've got 3 of them to show you. You have your common keychain. These are about $10. The smaller the unit, the less shooting distance you have. Your common keychain will shoot 10 to 12 feet. Then you have a 2-ounce bottle, which I don't have. You had a 4-ounce bottle. It's the size that the police carry. And you also have, it's almost what they call a bear spray size. But the difference in this, as you can see, it's got a real wide mouth to it. You're taking on rioters or bears with this. And you got 30 feet shooting distance. On the 401, you got 15 to 18. The keychain, you're going to have 10 to 12 feet. So the bigger the unit, the further you can shoot, and the more spray that you can put on them. The mistake that you don't want to do is you don't want to spray it and then look at them and think, did it work? You don't want to hit them with a little 2 or 3 second burst. When you start shooting, you keep shooting till that thing runs empty. They're either going to break off their attack or they may go down to the ground, but keep in mind they can hold their breath. And if they got sunglasses on to keep the chemical irritant out of their eyes, they can wail on you for 2 or 3 minutes. They can take your life in 2 or 3 minutes. So have something to back it up or start running to put distance between you and them. Because the sooner they have to breathe, the more that chemical spray is going to get a hold of them. And then when you hold like the 4-ounce bottle, don't hold it like this. You'll see a lot of people say, aim it and wave it around and you'll hit them. I put my thumb on the actuator button. I make a fist, and as I throw a punch, I'm using my thumb to press that. Because in this mode here, someone hit the back of your hand, it could go flying out of your hand. Remember, weapon retention is the key thing to keeping them from using it on you. But when my fist wrapped around it and I put my thumb and I'm throwing punches and I'm hitting with it, now we're talking better weapon retention. Then you can also go on toward back to knives. Down in Kentucky and Tennessee, they call these Tennessee boxing gloves. This is called a push dagger. Thing comes above your fist, you're punching, or you can punch and twist. You can rake with it and slash. But two of these in your hand, that's the reason why I call Tennessee boxing gloves. A lot of damage can be done. Now, do you have to get one that big? No. They make them in smaller. This is a keychain version here that fits in your hand. And they make them even a little smaller than this, called a mini pal. You're talking about $20 to $25 on the keychain size, $35 on a bigger size, and they even make them bigger than this. So if you want something like that, that is available. Then you can get into electronic defense. You have something of this nature. It's a stun gun, square size, got a little flashlight on it. Push it forward, hit the button, you got the voltage. Now, if you're able to put your hand through this and someone knocks it out of your hand, as soon as that is pulled and they pick it up, when that pin comes out, it kills the gun so they can't use the gun against you. You can take and put it back in. As soon as you put it back in, your light will come on the side indicating that that gun is live and you're back in action. They do make them in different sizes. I do not recommend the lipstick size. It's not big enough to incapacitate or even hurt somebody. Somebody will take multiple hits off of that and be ready to beat you up. I sell this particular model. It's called a lightning rod to a lot of bouncers. You have a switch on one side that has 3 types of light settings to it. It's got dim, medium, and bright. Push it all the way forward, hit the button, and you've got voltage. So if you're walking to your car and you want to see if someone's hiding around in the dark underneath your car or something, you can shine your flashlight, and then if someone suddenly jumps out, you got something to sparkle with. For defense, again, if you can have pepper spray in the upper hand or something, you're talking an effective combination. But know your weapons, but also know the shortcomings. These are great for spring and summer when people have on t-shirts or something thin. In the wintertime, if they've got on thick jackets, these are not as good. The voltage will not go through those hoodies or whatever that they wear. But in the summertime, very good. Now your target areas are going to be groin, stomach, kidneys, and up around the neck to strike with these. Now in the wintertime, they got a big coat on. Probably the neck would be the only thing that you can hit. So you got to be a lot more accurate. You got to be a lot faster. Once you make contact, you got to hold contact for almost 3 or 4 seconds to be able to try to put them down. Now, if a person has a high pain threshold, they may not go down. So you have to take that in consideration. That's the reason why a second weapon would be key. And there's no single weapon that I've demonstrated to you here that's going to put a guy down and keep him down. And again, if they've got a high pain threshold or they're high on PCP or something, they can take multiple hits. So again, having your skills practiced to where they're muscle memory, you don't have to think about them, and then being able to strike is going to be key. And it's got to be a combination that works. You're trying to create distance. You want to focus on eyes, throat, and groin area to deliver maximum pain to him, because no matter how muscular he is, he cannot build those areas up to where they'll be able to take a strike. And you want to hurt him as bad as you can. And if you can bleed him, don't say that I don't want to hurt him, because he don't care about you. He's going to do maximum damage to you to get his way. So and he may murder you because, I mean, when it comes down to it, there's passed out, there's knocked out, and there's dead. And either you're going to be so badly out of shape that when you start fighting, you're going to get lightheaded and pass out, or he's going to try to knock you out, or he's going to try to kill you. So you want to do maximum damage. Every strike you throw is with bad intentions behind it. Do not care about them. Bleed them. Make them leave DNA evidence. Pull their hair out. Cut skin off of them. Whatever. Leave evidence. So if you get abducted, you got a better chance of being found if you can leave DNA evidence behind. Don't care about what you do to them, because believe me, they don't care what they're about to do to you. So with that, Sanford, I'm going to stop for right now and let you chime in.
Well, you covered all the conventional self-protection items I would have had. I got a whole bunch of them here, the exact same things you got. I got most of them from you. And I got a few other things. My main thing, really, what I want people to do, because I think you did a great job of covering just the self-defense tools. I want to go back to the mindset. I also want to go back to remember, everything is a weapon if you can make it a weapon. So if you got a pencil, if you got an ink pen, the areas you spoke about as far as striking a human being, those are the vulnerable areas, the most vulnerable areas. You should do that. I don't know what you think about, some of the classes we teach. And I guess we'll talk with Brother Muhammad. We can do, because Brother Aaron and myself, we do some ladies self-defense and awareness class. I actually teach a baton class where they actually get a card saying they're certified to know how to use a baton. So that's something we offer for ladies a lot of times. I teach a chemical class where they can actually learn how to use the mace correctly. And the reason when people say you don't have to have a class, that's true. You don't have to have a class for a lot of things. But one thing for certain, two things for sure. One, knowing how to do something increases your ability to be able to use it correctly. And two, nobody ever talks about the possibility of liability coming upon you for what you did, even to protect yourself or somebody around you. So anytime that you can show that you have been trained and you have some awareness and understanding of what you're using and how it's used, that helps you overall. So being trained, practice and learning how to use what you use is very important. And I don't ever want you to get away from that. But I also want to go to, like I said before, if you can be safe and create distance, that's what you want to do. And striking, the one thing Brother Aaron didn't mention that I always say is when you throw a strike or you swing that baton, I want you to either scream the word help or stop. Scream those, and that'll help exert the energy, actually make your strikes a little more potent. Then at the same time, you're trying to draw attention. So when you hit somebody with that baton, you yell stop or help, and that way you may get somebody to pay attention that you're in distress. So you have to use every tool you got, and that might not necessarily be just what you have in your hands. Your verbal tools, you have to use everything you have to try to create some kind of environment that'll help make sure that you can survive and get through whatever the event is. And I'll leave it right there right now. I think we've had an outstanding show so far, brothers. This has been excellent information.
Yeah, good stuff for sure. Well, I think, yeah, we covered some real good stuff. If you all want to have any final parting words, we'll go ahead and close it on out with this, because this was good stuff for sure.
Well, again, I can't overemphasize practice makes perfect. This isn't something that
Hmm.
you want to get, just throw it in your drawer and then one day I'm going to carry it and then I'm going to try to use it, because if you've never used it before, you're going to be unfamiliar with it and you won't be as fast or as good as if you practice with it and practice a defense to where it becomes muscle memory. And I mean, that muscle memory is very, very important. I cannot overemphasize that. Plus, the more you practice something, the better you get at it. And that in defending your life, defending your children, that's something that you want to be technically proficient at. That's not going to be, you don't want that to be amateur hour. So I'll stop there, Steve.
Hmm.
I just want to say that, you know, being aware is the first line of defense.
Mhm.
There are a lot of things that I didn't get into personally because they might be a little more lethal that I'd rather not just do over YouTube. Uh,
Mhm.
but hopefully here soon through our Patreon, they'll be able to purchase some classes or some other
Yeah.
things that we have that we can offer that will offer some different options that may be to a different level of defense too. So I don't want to speak on
Mhm.
that too much because we're on YouTube. You know what I mean? And I don't want to,
Mhm.
and I don't want to offend anybody either because everybody has a different mindset. But start off with being aware. Start off with the mindset that you're going to win and you're going home. My mother used to say, she told me, she said, Sanford, ain't no such thing as common sense. I was 19. And I looked at her real strange. She said, let me tell you what I mean. She said, don't ever forget this. She said, there's no such thing as common sense because everything isn't common amongst everybody. So, son, in life, you should always use good sense. I've been using the term good sense ever since. So, all I want to say is to people is this: use good sense. You got a gut, you got an intuition. If you're somewhere and you're out, something that doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. So you follow that good sense and say, you know what, maybe I don't need to go here, or maybe I don't need to walk down this road, or maybe I don't need to park my car here. You listen to that intuition because it's there for a reason. I think that's a God-given gift, and I think we have to pay attention to that. You know, make
Mhm.
sure you let other people know where you're out and what you're doing. Anything to make yourself safe. That's all. But use good sense in doing it. Ask yourself, how would you think somebody would do this to you? And that's probably what could happen. So don't take anything for granted. Be safe out there. Um, Contact us through the Refuge Depot Patreon and through the site, and we're gonna have some things for you in the future, real soon, where you can get some of these products from Brother Aaron. You can get some gift certificates. I'm selling gift certificates uh, through the holidays and stuff, and we do it through there. And some of it support the channel and support the business. And appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like you said, when we started this, we're just really now getting into our groove. And like you say, we want to definitely offer the people some products. We want to definitely ask for those of you who are watching this program to subscribe, but to not only just to subscribe, but to share this with your family, with your friends, with your associates. Let them know that it's a time. What does that say in the Bible? There's a time for everything. There's a time to play, but there's a time to get serious. So this program, we just want to help you to understand some of the things that you can do to safeguard your life, the life of your family, and to be secure. And so subscribe to our channel. Check out our Patreon site /Refuge Depot, and we're going to have some beautiful gifts for you there. And with that, we'll just go ahead and close it on out. I want to thank you, brothers, for yet another informative program. And I look forward to talking with you all next week. And I'll go ahead and just close it on out.